privatization offers in contributing to national development through revenue enhancement and containing public debt and easing pressure on our public expenditure. In fact, I'll come to condense the reason why we are going the privatization route, because that is key. Many Kenyans have not understood why we have decided to privatize KPC. And I must be specific on KPC because it is out there in the market. KPC belongs to you and I, belongs to Kenyan. It is your asset. You must understand why we are divesting 65% out of KPC and giving to the public and other players. So this will reduce government's administrative burden by leveraging the market expertise of the private sector. So the National Treasury will in this regard continue with sound macroeconomic policies to enhance resilience and create a conducive environment for private sector, including the local business communities. Let me reaffirm the government's recognition of the critical role the private sector plays, especially the local business communities, the role it plays in driving Kenya's economic growth through revenue contribution and job creation. Under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, the government is implementing measures to create favorable conditions for the growth and sustainability of private enterprise. I can see Mheshimiwa Dawu, you're wondering, Mbadi is talking about bottom-up economic transformation agenda. You know, nowadays I speak it even better than you. Yeah. Broad-based. To enhance the outcomes, I hereby call for closer collaboration between the government and the private sector to unlock growth opportunities, especially in sectors with high youth employment potential like agriculture, MSMEs, housing, healthcare, and the digital and creative economy. These sectors are not only engines of growth, but also platforms of innovation, entrepreneurship, and job creation for the youth. This engagement provides a basis for this collaboration through sharing of ideas and proposal towards this objective. We will therefore endeavor to have a robust collaboration with all stakeholders, including the youth, the private sector, representatives, experts, civil society groups, volunteers, and local communities. So by forging these partnerships and collaboration, the government will harness ideas, skills, and resources of diverse stakeholders to better deliver policies in a more transformative way. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to state here that I was elated to receive a written memorandum outlining some practical measures through which we can enhance financial support for students in tertiary institutions. And I want to mention here all the representatives who have spoken. Kindly put what you have written, what you have said in writing, and submit them to us. And any other person who has ideas, we have a team here who will collect your views, and then we will sit down at the National Treasury to look at your views and your priority areas and accommodate them. We have listened to students just to get to know that our sitting here is not an academic exercise. I will tell you that listening to students when we began, Higher Education Loans Board, the HELB funding in the last year's budget was first 41 billion reduced to 37 billion. Out of that, this financial year, we are proposing to enhance it to 58 billion, just by listening to students. But I want to tell you that I have heard you say that we are not disbursing Higher Education Loans Board. We may need to check where the problem is. Because the budget for 2025-2026, and we are in January, the year is ending in June. And this is the fact. The budget for 2025-2026 for Higher Education Loans Board was 36,419,870,000. National Treasury has disbursed or funded Kenya shillings 36,419,870,000, meaning we have funded it in full, 100%. So when I hear that there's delay, I'm wondering, what is this delay? And this was a request from the ministry. The ministry requested us to release the money in full. And we did that because we value the education of our children. Problem maybe is that it is not adequate. And we are working towards improving that. And I will explain to you that we have other competing needs, but we value education. The money that goes to university, is it University Funding Board? Yeah? The scholarship, the one that is modeled around mean testing. Yeah? The budget was 17,158,226,971. Up to date, we have funded 8,579,113,485 shillings. That leaves 8,579,113,485, meaning we have funded it 50%. So we are not that late in disbursement, but I may need now to discuss with the Higher Education Loans Board and find out where is the delay. What is the problem? Because the money has been released from the National Treasury. The students are saying we are delaying in releasing the money. So who is not doing the right things? So I wanted to clarify that before I forget. Now, so when we received all this, all the information that we receive is helping us in informing the next budget and also the next budget and also the medium-term budget process. I'm about to conclude or finish with my written speech or official speech. So, furthermore, we are aware of the financial constraints or strains facing our public universities, which impact the quality of education and future prospects of our youth. Our strategy emphasizes increased funding in areas like infrastructure development and curriculum reforms to equip our students with skills relevant to the evolving job market, particularly in 3 critical areas. 1, artificial intelligence. 2, data science. And 3, green technologies and vocational trades. So those are areas that we are focusing on. So during this process, we welcome positive critique of our public financial management systems and policies to shape the budget process. So don't feel shy, say it as it is. No one will look at you like uko na madharau. We have come here to engage, all right? And please deliver your message in your own style. You can never be John Badi. You are just yourself, and you cannot be another person. So just deliver it the way you are. Don't fake it, yeah? Just speak to us. I may disagree with you, but you have the right to say what you are saying. So your active engagement in this process guarantees efficient and transparent use of public funds, ensuring that public resources achieve their intended objectives. I wish to urge for your concerted effort to enable us build a Kenya where opportunities are accessible to all, where youth are empowered to lead, and where our collective aspirations become reality. Together, we can forge a prosperous, inclusive, and resilient nation. That is where my official speech ends. Thank you. So now allow me to engage without being constrained with this official speech. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to appreciate where Kenya has been and where Kenya is today in terms of our economic capacity as a country. Let me tell you, in 2021, 2022, and Honorable Dawi is aware, IMF had predicted that 6 countries in Africa were going to default in paying their debts. You know, from 2014, we have had accelerated uptake of debt in our country. Well, for some good reason, because we decided to expand our infrastructure, to be able to have an infrastructure foundation that would help the economy to leap to the next level. However, most of the infrastructure projects that we invested in are either long-term, some have a payback period of about 20, 30 years. Some were also not well thought out, like the SGR hanging somewhere with low economic value. If probably we extended SGR beyond Naivasha to the border with Uganda, it would have brought more economic gains to the country than where now it is hanging. So our debt level had reached that as unsustainable level. And we were predicted that we would default. And countries have defaulted. Today, as I was coming, I was reading Business Daily, how Ethiopia is struggling as we speak to get out of that trap. In fact, now they are being dictated to. As an economy, there are two countries, China and France, are cheering to get Ethiopia out of that mess. By the way, Kenyans, many of us don't know what defaulting means. When you default in repaying your debts, it is a serious thing. And the first thing that would happen would be IMF would be in town. And this time round, they will not be coming like they always come to discuss with us. No. They will be coming to give us orders and ultimatums. They will come and tell you, see, you are already in shit. Mmejiingiza kwa matope. For us to help you come out of this matope, there are conditions. You will reduce your civil service by, say, 50%. You will reduce the salaries of all staff by 50%. You will reduce all elected leaders by 50%. MCAs, 1,450 wards must come to 700 and something. MPs from 290, 145. I'm giving you examples of what they would demand. These your counties are too many. 47, too many. You must merge them. Tharaka Nithi must merge with Meru and many other things. Those are examples of what could happen if we defaulted. And by the way, we were about to default. Why were we about to default? Because the previous administration did not see sense in organizing post-election period because they were going out anyway. So they didn't care. There is a bond, Eurobond, that is coming for payment in June 2024, and there was no plan. And it is $2 billion US, which is equivalent to 260 billion Kenya shillings. No one cared. The administration that came into office also had problems. They were looking at the debt coming up for payment, but they have no solution. They have to pay salary. Counties are calling for money. Otherwise, they would shut down. Capitation in schools is needed. Health must be taken care of. So everybody was in panic, but we didn't know what to do. Around that time, you'll remember, if you went to the bank to get dollars, you could not get the dollars that you wanted if you went to buy dollars. If you had your son or daughter or your brother schooling out of the country, in the US, Australia or whatever, and you wanted to pay fees, you could not get the dollars you wanted. It was a sorry state of affairs. Fortunately for Kenya, the market opened and they managed that liability. And that is why last year we decided never to be careless again. Another Eurobond was coming up for payment in 2027 May. We decided to pay it last year by February. Another one is coming up for payment in 2028. We had a choice to be careless again and say that is after election anyway. We'll have won our second term. But whether we are going to win the second term or not, it is important to prepare and live an economy that is functioning. Because even if you leave office, I leave office today, I will still live in this country. And an economy which has failed, no one is safe. Even if you have wealth, that wealth will sublime and will never be there in a short while. Even if you have property, who will live in your houses? Who will pay you rent in a failed economy? Where salaries have been reduced by half, where people have been retrenched. So we must know that this is our economy regardless of positions that we hold. I know second term tutapata. I have no doubt about it. Two term is real. I have no doubt about that. It is real. Tutapata hiyo. Tutapata. Hiyo tutapata. But this is not the time for that. What we have today is to prepare ourselves as a country for posterity. That is why we decided by September to liability manage the debt that is coming in 2028. Therefore, as we speak today, we don't have debt pressures up to 2031. That is why the other day on Thursday, you saw Moody's, which is one of the globally reputed firms, upgraded Kenya from CAA1 to B3 and said now in the short term we don't have debt risk as a country. We are no longer in that debt risk assessed by other people. All right? Simply means that now we are a country that people can do business with. And they have said now we have a stable economic outlook. We were at negative, then we moved to positive. Now we are stable. Hata kama wengine wanasema this government is doing nothing. Even let's assume we are doing nothing. But getting the economy from near collapse to stable, is that not something? Now it can be built on. Hata kama si mimi. Dawood will build on it. Tomorrow you will be the CS National Treasury. You can now take over from me and build on it. Now, you people, that is where we were. And the inflation in this country was hitting double digits. The reserves were not there. Foreign exchange, shillings was trading at 160 to the dollar. Today, where is it? 130. The most stable currency probably in the world is Kenya shilling today. People have tried to question, but we are telling them, why do you question? And the evidence is there. We have built reserves, 5.3 months of import cover, and we need only 4 months of import cover. We are 5.3. There is stability. Everybody is seeing it. Those who are assessing us, who had already downgraded us, are saying we are picked up. Is that not something? So, you see, because of those challenges, we had an economy that was struggling. Yet you have needs. Let me give you another example. If you want to know that things have not been easy in this country. My friend, we are collecting, last financial year, we collected 2.4 billion. Let's call it 2.5 because it was close to 2.5. Trillion. Trillion, not billion. Trillion, 2.5. Out of that, 1.1 trillion is going to debt service cost. We are servicing our debt with 1.1 trillion. That leaves you with only 1.4 trillion max. And our salaries today, the salaries of national government staff that we all earn, those of us who are working in public service, we spend 80 billion per month. That is 960 billion per year. From 1.4, you are remaining with only 400 and something, about 440. The counties, my sister here, they are shouting at us. We are underfunding them. Yet we gave them 415 billion. It looks a lot, but ni kidogo ukiangalia mahitaji ya counties. And by the way, I am a strong supporter of devolution. And I know we should fund counties much more. 415 is not enough. But for the sake of this discussion, imagine the 440 that Mbadi remained with, nimepeana 415 to counties. Sasa imebaki ngapi? 25 billion. 25. That is what goes to development. That is what goes to When DCC want to put fuel in his car, 25, the whole country. Yeah, just it. So, and that is the money we need to give you for capitation in schools. That's the money that we should give for health. So for us to develop this country, we go out there to borrow money. So we have only two choices: to tax you more or borrow more. Those two choices are closed. Borrowing more is not an option now, because every country is inward looking. America is America first. Europe is looking for how to survive. America has left them. Russia and the EU is threatening the existence of Europe. Will they think about their security or to give you money for medication and for capitation in schools? There is no money out there. America does not have it. Even China does not have free money. If they have to give it to you as a cost. Europe does not have free money anymore. So there is no money to borrow out there. If you go for borrowing Eurobond, the prices are there. The interest rates are high. Taxes, you have been taxed mpaka hapa. Kenyans don't want to hear of taxes anymore. Ama namna gani? So what options are left? Nyinyi mnasema, msiuze our assets. How will we develop our roads? How do we do that, JKIA? Kenya is one of the worst airports in the region, and we are the leading economy. We are the biggest, largest economy in East and Central Africa. A tiny economy like Rwanda has developed their airport. We are almost losing our logistics hub status. The UN, which gave us the logistics hub status, will take it away with consequences, because we cannot develop JKIA. My friend, that airport must be developed. It must be modernized. We must look for money. Hii maneno ya kuweka KPC kama souvenir, tuachane naye. KPC is not souvenir. It is our asset. Once it has matured, remember in 2009, Kibaki government, the cabinet of Kibaki had approved that we should privatize KPC. Siasa ndogo ndogo ikachezwa, tukawachana na hiyo. Maybe it was waiting for Mbadi to come. We privatized KPC. People are complaining. Is this the first time we are privatizing assets in this country? Kenya Re was privatized. Kenya Commercial Bank used to be owned by government 100%. Kibaki government privatized it. Safaricom, we used to own it 100%. Moi released 60%, 40%. So, Kibaki government released 25%. That is 65. That is why today we have 35. When we want to release 15%, noise. Why? Is it because it's Mbadi who is in office and not Kimunya? When Kimunya released 25%, why didn't you make noise? Uhuru did not release any. That is why we have these debts today. Kengen, we released some of the shares. Kengen is now performing better. Safaricom is now doing much better than when the government held 100%. It's now the leading, the most profitable company in Africa, or in the region, in our region, East and Central Africa. Safaricom. If we held more shares as a government, it would still be struggling there with government bureaucracies. The profit that now, the dividend that we are getting from Safaricom today is many times more than what we used to get when it was 100% owned by government, and we are owning 35. When we release 15, 20% may even give us more, because these investors will bring in more capital into it and expand it even in other countries. So, my friends, Hii kitu mnaambiwa ati wanauza. First of all, government is not in business of doing business. The government should provide a platform for private sector to thrive in doing business. I keep on telling you that government already owns 30% of your business. Hata ile kiosko yako hiyo kiosk una hold. We have 30%. And you pay us first before even you pay your staff. Ile pesa unapeana serikali, before you pay yourself unapeana serikali tax, whether you like it or not. So we don't need to struggle with you over dividend. Chukua dividend ukae naye. Mimi, give me tax. We run the government. So now what we are doing with Kenya Pipeline is that we are offering 65% of it for privatization. We are retaining 35%. The 65% that we are releasing, 5% of that 65 will be to staff of Kenya Pipeline. 15% will go to oil marketers, both local and external, because oil marketers are the biggest stakeholders in KPC. We want them to have a stake. 20% will go to institutional investors, Kenya. That is pension funds like NSSF or PSSF. We have mutual trust funds. We have insurance companies, those who want to buy but are corporate. Then we have 20% for you and I, the ordinary people, to invest. Then we have 20% for our brothers and sisters in the East African region. We are targeting more particularly Uganda because they are interested in investing here. Uganda provides revenue to KPC of 32%. 32% of KPC revenue comes from Uganda market. That is not a market you can ignore. So we are offering them about 20%. Let them have a stake here. Let them have their representative in the board so that they can have more confidence and continue doing business with us. They shouldn't look south to Tanzania. Should look east, right? We are giving them 7% of their petroleum products we are transporting to Uganda. 3% comes from Dar es Salaam. We want 100% even. And then now 20% will go to other investors globally. But the bulk of this is still going to be owned by Kenyans. When we get the money, and we get money from Safaricom, we are projecting to raise 106 billion. And if you see how Ugandans are excited, actually they were very angry that we only allocated 20% to East Africa. And Kenyans are still hesitant. Ugandans are very excited. I was there up to yesterday. I came from Uganda yesterday. They're very excited. They are pushing us, we should increase that percentage. But we told them we have our capital markets authorities, rules and regulations, which cannot allow that. And the national interest. So, if we get this 106 billion, and we are getting 244 billion from Safaricom, that is 350 billion. We will put this money in the National Infrastructure Fund. We are not going to use it to pay salaries. We are putting it in a fund that is going to develop commercially viable national or public infrastructure projects. Let me move to conclude. So what happens? What happens is that we will not tax you more. What happens is that we don't want to take excessive loans in going forward. But we will not tax you more. In fact, we are thinking now of reducing taxes. So let me announce this here, that we have agreed with His Excellency the President that low-income earners in this country should be given a reprieve. We have agreed with His Excellency the President. He has directed me to take to Parliament a proposal. I'm not even waiting for finance bill to come in June. I am taking tax laws amendment bill to Parliament Once Parliament resumes, we are preparing that bill, take to them to approve so that any Kenyan, and by the way, how many Kenyans are salaried? About 3,065,165 Kenyans. Out of these 3 million, 1.5 million Kenyans are earning 30,000 shillings and below. 30,000. 30, like this. Mheshimiwa, just look at your salary and mine. And imagine that someone who is earning 30 and myself, that government is coming for our money, both of us. So we have said government should come for my money and leave the person who is earning 30,000 alone. So any Kenyan, if this law, and I'm sure, I don't think there is any mad MPs in Parliament who will oppose that. Anyone who is earning 30,000 and below in Kenya should not pay as you earn. You pay zero. And then there's the next bracket. We are reducing the tax rate for those who are earning between 30,000 and 50,000. We are reducing the tax rate because already if you're earning from 33,000, you pay 30%. 33,000 going up, you pay 30%. We are reducing that also, that bracket between 30,000 and 50,000. So you only pay 25%. We reduce that by 5%. So those who are earning 50,000, first you will benefit because your first 30,000, you pay zero. Then the next 20,000, you pay 25%. We are trying to put some money in your pocket. Because you are complaining. Are you not complaining that you don't have money to buy things? That demand is shrinking. So, and many Kenyans, by the way, that's another 244,000 Kenyans. So we are trying to give a reprieve to 1.7 million Kenyans. And now, we look for other Kenyans out there who have not been paying taxes to also pay tax. If you know you are making 100,000, just because you are not on payroll, you want to always run away with 100,000. Yet, you are also using the roads like that salaried person. Are you not being unfair? So, the other people, and we will come to you with softness. Taxation is not military. So Kenya Revenue Authority will just use the system. Wakikuona uko mahali na utaki kulipa tax, they will tell you, we have seen you. We may not go back, but start paying tax. Many of us here own apartments, and you don't even pay rental income tax, which is 7.5%. Please start paying. Utapatikana hivi karibuni. Now we are integrating the system. Hiyo records yako iko lands. Na kama iko lands, unalipa stima. Unless you stop paying electricity, we will get you. Na hata kama ulipi stima, unalipa maji. Na kama unalipa stima, si unalipa stima kwa nyumba, either unaishi ama rental. Kama unaishi kwa nyumba, hakuna mtu atakusumbua. Lakini kama ni rental, peana 7.5%. It's not even a lot. You are earning 100,000 from an apartment. We are only coming for 7,500. That is a tax. Give us that money. Imagine, you people should be paying us between 82 billion and 100 billion, and we are receiving only 17 billion. The rest of the burden, you leave to a teacher who is earning 30,000 to carry that burden for you. Na wewe unapata rental income hapa, ingine, In a month, you are getting 300,000. Unakula yote. Na mwalimu ana earn 35,000, payslip ikirudi ni 12,000. It is not fair. So we are telling these people who are earning 30,000, nyinyi tunawaondoa. Wacha wale wanapata pesa mingi kama Mbadi, tulipe hiyo ushuru. If anything, hiyo salary napata si ni yenu. Even if you don't pay tax direct, as pay as you earn, si utanunua sukari, bado utalipa tax, na hiyo ndiyo pesa inalipa Mbadi mishahara. So wacha Mbadi arudishe kono. I should be taxed properly. Hiyo mshahara yangu karibu 1,900 na kitu ikatwe properly. 200, 300 iende kwa serikali. Si ndio? To educate people, capitation. To educate, tupeana kwa health. So we are going for, actually let me conclude. By the way, the principles of taxation dictate that you should tax wealth. Number 2, kama pesa haijatosha, then tax income. But never tax trade. So we are trying to avoid taxing trade and reducing taxation on income, but tax wealth. Mshahara inafika mahali mheshimiwa, sasa inakuwa it beats income, it becomes wealth. Sasa kama una earn mshahara ya 5,000,000, honest, hiyo ni income. Hiyo ni return on employment kweli. Na uko tu na kichwa moja kama watu wengine. Hata kama ni stress, I know there's too much stress. But hiyo sasa ni wealth. So we are coming for just taxing wealth. Just tax wealth. Those who can afford, they do not tax. That is what most countries do. Hey, I think I've talked a lot. Have I spoken to anyone in the room? So those of you who are saying, hii serikali ya Ruto imeweka ushuru juu, you should understand where this government found the economy. It was terrible. But we have agreed with the president that now that things are getting better, let's give it back to the public. Let's give back to those who are earning low income. Let's reduce taxes on the people. So this is the beginning. If we see our economy is even doing better, we will even go for VAT. Why not? See, we told you we will reduce salaries, we reduce VAT, we reduce corporation tax, corporate tax. We will go for that. But let's start with this low income earners. We remove the tax. By the way, if you check someone who is earning 50,000, that if you calculate that tax and about 2,000 more, if you go to the bank and you find you have earned 2,000 and more, so, to someone who is earning 1 million like me, that is nothing, isn't it? But to a person who is earning 50,000, it is a lot. Ama namna gani? So that is what we are doing. I don't know whether I've addressed, let me address some of the questions that you asked me quickly. Then I think Mheshimiwa, on the issue of the dwelling of the road, I'm following it up, why it has taken inordinately too long. We are intentional. DG, I've answered you. We are intentional in reducing taxpayers' burden. Very intentional. I think I've addressed health issues and addressing student finances to reflect on inflation. I've just told you that we are likely to put more budgets under higher education loans board and even on the scholarship. Delay in funding, I've addressed that, including TVETs. Increased levy on spare parts. This we may need. Please put forward this proposal that you are asking us to reduce levy on spare parts for motorcycles. Lakini tukireduce, najua mtanunua motorcycles. Tafadhali, you also behave well. wacha kutumaliza bwana. Motorcycle riders, I don't know, many of you are not even going for training. Mnabeba watu, mnatuangusha. People, the money that we spend in our health facilities to treat people who are involved in the accident is too much. So talk to your members, but the government, I agree, must come in strong to bring order in our public sector space, transport space. And give civic education, I agree. What plan? I think Wycliffe, you asked me plans. I've told you, it is you to suggest what you want to be done for you. Then we look at our budget. Leonard, we will follow up how the funds channeled through council is utilized. And I know there was a proposal to have a location for medical to persons living with a disability. I'll check if there's a specific line with SHA on this. And of course, education. I think that's it. Registration of PWDs. I have noted. In summary, I sat here and I took notes. I did not even trust my people. I was writing myself because what I write with my hand, with my pen, it's easy for me to understand what was actually said as opposed to what other people write for me. So I want to stop it there and request you that we take maybe 3 questions, 3 burning questions. Hey. But when I give you, it's 1 question and it is 30 seconds. Now, umalize. Don't build a story. I am sharp enough to understand you quickly. I'll start with the lady at the far end. Wangapi wanataka kuongea hapa? Now, my friend, you are intimidating me. Give it to him after that. Because you are standing, the rest are sitting. I'll give MCS after 2 or so. Wacha niende nyuma. You know, if you laugh with me, I'll give you chance. Now, your teeth is wide open. Your mouth is wide open. Wewe, umeshinda huyu. So the guy who has laughed with me, no, the gentleman. I've given the lady, then you, then him. Yes, go ahead.
All protocol observed, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Barbara Simiyu, a student at Meru University.
Kindly pull your, put microphone.
Sorry.
Yeah.
My name is Barbara, a student at Meru University. So I'll start by appreciating Honorable Mbadi for the good work he's doing for the public participation as enriched in the Constitution of Kenya 2010 and the committee at large. So my question is, for a youth who has a company, how can he or she access the government tenders, given that out here we are being told that only people in government can access shares? Thank you.
Did I get the question? Although you people are clapping, can you repeat the question? Am I the one who is slow?
Okay.
Because everybody is clapping and I didn't get it well.
Okay, my question is, for a youth who has a company, how can he or she access government tenders, given that out we are being told that only people in the government can access government shares? Tenders.
Government tenders. Those who?
For youths who have companies,
Yes.
how easily can they access government tenders?
Yes.
Comrades Tibim, Comrades Tibim, Comrades Ria, Comrades Zaga Zaga. Thank you, FCPA, CS, Honorable John Mbadi Ngongo. I stand here on the clarion call that Jesus Christ said, give Caesar what belongs to Caesar. So first, I want to appreciate you, Bwana Waziri, for the good lessons that you have told us. One, I want to retaliate and emphasize that us as the youth, we want the privatization of the KPC and the Safaricom to be done, because we want more finances for our future generation, and even your grandchildren will want this finance to be channeled into development. And secondly, Bwana Waziri, you know, as you said, the budget used to be as sacred as the Ark of the Covenant, but now you are engaging us, and we want to thank you for that. Lastly, Bwana Waziri, before I sit down, I have comrades here that I worked with who are not on the list. Comrade Mko, about 50, Bwana Waziri, ukitupanga hapo comrade waziri asikuje, comrade alale njaa, tutakuwa tuko na shukrani. The call inasema vizuri, tulia kidogo, mgeni akikuja mwenyeji apone. So thank you so much, Waziri. And lastly, my question, Waziri, lastly, these comrades here, we have what we call Vijana Economic Front, which is for comrades in these institutions that are here. We normally do car wash. We wash cars for the MPs here and our lecturers. Would wish to get your support. We have a proposal with our secretary there so that we can buy 2 or 3 machines that can help these comrades wasake tonge. Comrades power! Comrades ria! Alafu Bwana Waziri usitishwe. Sisi kama comrades wa Meru tuko nyuma yako, na nikikuangalia hivi hapo 2032 kuna venye nitakuangalia na macho mzuri. Waziri 2 term. Thank you so much and God bless you.
Okay. Yes.
Yes, Bwana Waziri, I'm Wesley, a former student here at the Meru National Polytechnic. Mine is so simple, it's a question about the public debt. So I'm not convinced and have not understood well why we still need loans like the one you got from the bank from China the other day. I still do not understand why you still need to get loans, and yet you have explained so well why you have privatized the companies, and Kenyans like us who make very less are willing to live within our means so that we can satisfy the other loans before from the other regime. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, I gave three chances. Maybe I'll try if I can get another 3. And that will be it. So just sit down. I've seen you. Access to government tenders. I know there's a legal framework in place reserving 30% for AGPO, these special interest groups, women, youth, the PWDs, and now we have added the elderly as the marginalized. But a lot of times what happens practically is the people who win these tenders, PWDs, youth, women, are not the people in those categories. You find one person has registered a farm, I have PW, and they tell people like me, they tell me, you know, help us. I have all the farms. If you want PWD, I have it. I have the one for the youth, I one for the women. Our system has been compromised. So, 2 things. We are tightening the rules to make sure that only people who are in those categories register the farms. But e-procurement is another way. I know many people don't like this system. But the moment this system will pick up, you will find that it helps us in dealing with this interference. Because human beings being what we are, even if we try to tell you we will do this, we'll do this, you find so many of us don't want functioning systems because we get compromised by the people who are doing those things. So the best way is to remove or reduce to the minimum human interaction with the procurement system. The moment you reduce human interaction with the procurement system, then you make it more efficient and you make it more accountable. That's why I've been pushing this e-procurement. This first year, it has struggled. But I am sure when we get to 2026-27, now it will pick up without excuses. By the way, many institutions are now using e-procurement perfectly well. The noise has gone down. In fact, some people wanted to blow it out of proportion, that, you know, we are not even absorbing development expenditure because of the system is frustrating us. You go and check our absorption of development expenditure part of the budget. The first half of the year, we only failed to absorb 33 billion, what we were supposed to absorb, which is one of the highest since. Because all the time, development expenditure is absorbed, it's not absorbed 100%. So where is this lie that e-procurement is stalling procurement? It is in the minds of people who want to still continue with a system that is compromised. That is the truth. I know we gave some exemptions. Next financial year, I will not give those exemptions. Everybody must roll into e-procurement, so that we help people who don't know who knows who in government. You must know who knows who. Mwache kusumbua mheshimiwa hapa ati unataka tender. You go to the internet and you apply for tender, you get it, you can see whether you are losing or you are getting. Wacha kusumbua DG here ati unataka county tender. Wacha kunisumbua, wacha nifanye kazi yangu national treasure. Do the tender, use the system, use the tender. If you are losing, you are seeing. If you are not, if you are winning and someone is trying to mess up with you, you can shout because you can see it. I think my friend the two gentlemen refused with their names. It's only Baba who said her name. But it's okay. I think, my friend, you largely spoke in support of privatization, and you ended up by saying that we should reduce borrowing, where I agree with you. And that was followed by your other colleague who asked, why are we still taking loans? You know, loans, countries will continue to take loans, but we must take it in line with our capacity as an economy. We have been taking loans that we can't pay, and loans that are too expensive, and loans that are long-term, which are short-term to pay, and putting in projects that are long-term. Sometimes, and a lot of times, we take loans for general budgetary support. You cannot even follow through to see where the loan was used, because it is for general budgetary support. So, with this privatization, we will now have space to reduce the loan uptake. We will start by cutting down on loans to a point maybe in future we may not need to take loans at all. But what we need to do is to start reducing our budget deficit. So we'll take out the infrastructure projects that are being funded currently in the budget. We take them out and fund them through this fund. That will reduce the pressure. The money that is released, we will reduce the loans and also channel some to social services like education, like health, which are underfunded today, and others like cash transfers or support to the vulnerable of the society. I think now you'll allow me to just give maybe two more. Waheshimiwa, how many of you want to? Can we take two to represent you, the MCA, the area MCA? Then you can converse there, one of you to speak. But hakuna mzee ameongea leo hapa. We cannot marginalize wazee. And I've seen a mzee ameweka mkono juu. Mimi nitampea mzee. Mimi niliishi na mzee, ninaogopa wazee, ninawarespect. Mzee, wewe ndiye utaongea kwa niaba ya hao watu wote.
Okay, asante sana. CS Mbadi, Minister for Finance, Mheshimiwa Rahim, all protocol observed, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alex Manyara from Central Eventi. I was sent by Mheshimiwa to represent him because he was far. I have just a few things to mention. Mine is to start by saying, today, Meru is so lucky to have you. We are blessed. We are born again. And we are sure what has transpired today will become a reality, and we are running behind the two-term in the Imenti Centro. Imenti Centro, that is the song every day. The people of Centro Imenti sent me with only one word. They look like a person is standing, the way Mheshimiwa Mbandi is standing. Their roads cut from one side to the other. They have only two. That is the Mati Road and the other road which cuts on the western side. We don't have any road that cuts from the head towards the legs. So the people from west have a lot of problems getting to the east, especially when it is rainy time. You have only started one, which has covered 1.6 kilometers, and that is why the song two-term is all over. In case the other proposed 4 roads are taken care of, that is from Mugitole, through Mojwa, through Kaongo, through Medongo, and then from Kiamori down to the Vice President is taken care of, and the road from Mariene through Ikweta, joining with Mheshimiwa Rahim, is completed, and the one from Kedirone through Kariene, going through Gaito, if the 4 are completed, about the which will be served well. Lastly, there is the Mariana University. Mariana University was awarded 500 million by the president. Sometimes back, we are still waiting so that the university can be completed. Mheshimiwa do something for that one. We have no hospitals. Hospitals in the area, we don't have anything of any level. We are asking that Gidongo becomes level 5 hospital. We have Kaongo level 4, Ndero level 4, and if those ones are given to us, we shall be happy. Those are the few I can ask you for. Thank you.
Thank you, Mzee. I think you have represented very well Central Imenti Central. What I'll do, I'll have a conversation with the MP to get the names of all the roads. You know, you mentioned them. I was struggling to catch the names, but that I will discuss with the Mheshimiwa. Can we now listen to the 2 MCS?
Thank you, Wasili. My name is Caleb, MCA Municipality. Mine is simple. We are working towards a Meru city. And my question was, what are you doing from your hand, maybe to help the county government towards the dream of achieving the Meru city? Because we know the equitable share that you said it was from 5.1 to 415, that is across the counties. But from your hand, is there anything that the government is doing so that now when we come to the people, we'll be able to mention it better as a government? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Waziri. My name is Jim Muchui, MCA for our own Kodadwana, Majority Whip County Assembly of Meru. And Waziri, we have agreed. I do 30 seconds, I give him 30 seconds. He has something burning. My issue is on the issue of...
I've given you 1 minute and him 1 minute.
Thank you, Waziri.
That's generous.
Thank you. So, Waziri, my issue and my recommendation is on the issue of TVETs. You understand that we have TVETs in almost every consistency in this country. And previously we used to have 30,000 capitation from government and also 40,000 from HELP. And the students used to join TVETs, they would pay only 2,000 shillings. Right now, Waziri, the students are paying 13, or other institutions 15,000, those who are joining, and those who are continuing are paying some tuition of 5,000. The Karumo TTI is in my ward, which has been best in the country for the last 4 years, consistently. And we normally we have around 7,000 students there. We normally record 2,000 in the intake, in the initial intake. But right now we have recorded around 100. So what I'm saying, Waziri, in this budget, let's go back to where we were and try to see how we sort out that issue. Because if they continue paying, then these institutions will collapse, and the people have invested heavily around those institutions, and there will be no students there.
Thank you.
Number two, Waziri, you said on L. Again, beyond, I know you have said many things about L. Beyond the issue of delay, there's a problem. This week I was following something from, for a student in my ward. And the students are allocated money in the system. And the help says they don't have money. And when I found, they told me unless they get a supplementary budget, that is when that money can be dispersed. So when the money is allocated in the system and the parent knows that the student has been allocated money, wazazi wanajipanga vingine wakijua pesa itakuja. And then that money disappears. It also brings a lot of problems. Finally, Waziri, in this budget, let us concentrate on finishing the incomplete or the stored project. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Waziri and members present. My name is Makasi. I'm the chair budget and appropriation. So I needed to speak out on Mbandi about Kazi Maju. Kazi Maju mostly that encompasses those who qualify with the technical skills. So I want you to incorporate in the budget money for this, because when I reach out to the agents, they want us to pay like 240,000 when there are jobs. These students can be able to raise money to get passports, but they cannot raise money for the agents. So I want you to consider in your budget, please appropriate money in the budget to help them to get the air flight tickets and to pay the agents. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we'll agree that we can end it there, because we have overstretched it. Na tujakula. So I think we need to end it somewhere. I think the reason why TVETs are now struggling is because of the expansion. The TVETs were not as many as they are now, and we are still expanding, which is a good thing. So what we may need to do is to look at our priorities and see how to allocate more resources for TVETs. Again, bear in mind that we have limited resources. Unless you want us to take more, which I don't want to agree with. So we will add money to support TVET education, but it may still leave us with a gap. So we need to check how to reprioritize. But I've taken note that that is a valid concern, that we need to allocate more resources to TVETs. And I can't agree with you more. We need to complete the incomplete projects before now we start new ones. Kazimaju, yes, there is intention to allocate some money. Actually, I think we may allocate some money even in the supplementary budget to support that initiative. We have already had a conversation with Mutua, the CS, and I promised him that we would put some allocation in the supplementary budget. And going into the main budget, I'm sure we will put more resources to support those who are getting opportunities and is being hampered. And you know, these ones are better, because if we don't do this, then we are creating opportunities for those other people with bad intentions who are taking our children to Russia in the name of helping them. It's a very sad thing. I'm sure you people have been following these stories. It's not something to be happy about when Kenyans are being taken, being misled to go to funny places to fight war they don't know, whose origin they don't even know, the name of looking for greener pastures. So if we can give more capacity to government for this formal, this structured way of getting Kenyans to get employment, the better. So I agree with you on that. Si ni kama nimejibu kila Yes.
For the interest of time, my name is Elias Muraga Julius. I'm the CEC in charge of youths and sport. And I'll go straight to the point because my boss, I believe, had spoken much. Mimi ndio tulikuwa napanga hii kazi na Osborne Yogo is my friend. To the point, can you confirm, Waziri, about Kinoru Stadium? Kwa sababu Kinoru Stadium, as the people who are in sport, hiyo uwanja saa hii ni dry. Now, there are a lot of things that have been said before, and it is now under Sport Kenya, na bado haijafika kiwango as per the MOU we had with the county government. Number two, there is the narrative imekuwa ikiendelea na wengi wameona kwa social media. Can you confirm why is it very hard about the bursary being brought together, watoto wasome for free? Kama it is possible, ama ni nini na kuangwa shida? And finally, the cost of implementation ya project inakuangwa very high. What I mean is a project ya 1 million, for example, in either national ama county, lazima iwekwe 16%, tukiweka profit margin ya 20%, administrative ya 5%, ile inafikia mwananchi inakuwa ni kitu kidogo na wanaona ni kama serikali inawaiba. How can you reduce the cost of implementation through a policy framework? Asanteni sana, and may God bless you.
Kinoru Stadium, I think this is something I can pick up and find out whether there are plans. I know there are plans to upgrade most of our stadium in the country. And you know, again, the sports fund has been misused over the years. Misused completely. People were doing funny things, sports academy, nani fence tu ndio imewekwa na some funny shade, and 50 million is gone. So it is something that I know first we are spending some money. Sometimes we use KDF now to do some stadium. We are doing one in Kakamega. I know there's one in Siaya. So and there's one, is it Machakos or Kitui? Either of the two. So I'll pick up this. We see Kinoru Stadium, I think, needs serious upgrade. It's a stadium that has historical name. We have heard about it for years. So that is taken. Cost of implementation of projects is very high. True. By the way, let me tell you one reason why, and it's not because I was MP. I don't see myself being MP again, but this world you can't rule out anything. I may not run again for member of parliament. So whatever I say out of experience. The reason why National Government Constituency Development Fund is succeeding is because the cost of implementation is low. The cost of management is very low. Just go and look at the framework for NGCDF. We must minimize cost of implementation. And one of the reasons is what that girl said. Procurement is faulty. In this country, we do 1 kilometer of tarmac road at over 100 million. Why? Why? Because our engineers, our procurement officers, our accountants, those are the culprits. This country, there are criminals in these areas. I will tell you where criminals reside. Criminals reside in the accountancy profession, where I belong. I want to start with that, so that other professions don't come for my neck. Accountants. There are so many criminals among us. You leave accountants, you go to another category called engineers. Engineers estimate. Hey, if there is anything sinking this country, is this so-called engineers estimate. Then you go to procurement. Procurement hapa, hata sisi tulifanya makosa mheshimiwa. We go and say the lowest evaluated bidder. Not even lowest bidder, evaluated. So how this evaluation is done? Procurement. Then another category, lawyers. four professionals, if we change these professionals and we start behaving well, this country will develop. But these four professionals, groups, categories, accountants, procurement, engineers, and lawyers. Hapo ndiye kuna shida. If you belong to those professions, know you are the person who is putting Kenya where it is today. So we need to reform those professions, beginning at individual levels. Lastly, ni maneno ya bursary. It is a valid proposal. Members of Parliament through NGCDF, 40% of NGCDF is for bursaries. Women rep, bursary iko hapo. Presidential bursary iko. Counties wanapeana bursary. If we could be clear in our minds that we want to help give free education to our children, and we forget about these people running around with forms all over the place, kujaza jaza na kucheza siasa. Niko na checks hapa, so and so kuja, alafu ninaenda nyumbani when I'm very satisfied that today nimecheza siasa. Hiyo ndio inaleta shida. We could surrender the money, but will the money be surrendered? Have that conversation. No policy decision has been made whether we are merging the bursary funds. Because this is a conversation that I alone cannot make a decision on. Our MPs are here, the executive is there, all the other participants. So I want to end it there because I told you I'm going to Nairobi and I don't even know what time it is. Ni saa ngapi? I will come back another day if you welcome me. How many would want me to come again? Na nikirudi, this time nitacheza siasa. Hata mimi nitasema maneno siasa vizuri. Nirudi niseme 2 term. Wangapi wanasema nirudi niseme 2 term? Yeah, so those who will be, there are people who can speak after we'll have left. But I want to assure you, I will find opportunity to come back for a conversation. Tutaongea siasa. You will ask me the performance of government, where we have delivered, where we have not delivered. Na nitajibu yote. All of you, I will answer, each one of you. And I will tell you why tribalism is bad. Sindio? Some of you are tribal here. I am also tribal here. As if I chose to be born a Luo. Something you do not contribute to. Why are you proud about it? Did you choose to be a Meru? If you didn't make a decision to be a Meru, why are you being proud that you are a Meru, other people are useless? That I'm a Luo, other people are useless? What if my mother was married this side? See, I would be a Meru today. So achane na maneno ya ukabila bwana. This country, if it is going down, all of us, regardless of our tribe, let us look for leaders who can move this country from one level to the next. Nitarudi, mkikubali. Nitarudi, niwaongeleze. Asanteni sana. I know there are people who said that their names were not there. I will leave this with my team. They will also be sorted out. Now you said 50. Na hii list yako hii bwana. Hii ni yako eh? Oh, ile ya vijana. But we will get back to you. I thought you were giving me the names of the 50. The names of the 50, my people are here. They will sort you out. Wale wamekuja hapa, hakuna mtu ameget crash. Umekuja hapa because Mbadi came here. You came to see Mbadi and listen to Mbadi. Hata wewe lazima upate kitu kidogo. Ama namna gani? Thank you.
Thank you. Let's remain seated. Let's remain
those committed to our charge. Fairness in terms of his interrogating his capacity and ability to serve the country and his commitment thereafter. So I so declare also, Chair.
Is it on the same CPA route? But please, members, let's not really overdwell on this matter. Yes, in 1 minute.
Thank you, Chair. Probably you may need to rule as a chair, because in the future engagements, what grounds does it determine a conflict of interest of a member of parliament with the witness? By virtue of knowing each other, I thought conflict should come at the point of sharing a very definite relationship, either business-wise, job-wise, but the fact that you know each other, like in this case, Honorable Bol Piego is a member of parliament for Chesume, and the witness here also happened to have been born and raised in Chesume constituency. What parameters from your ruling as a chair, so that in future we don't find ourselves in this scenario?
So thank you, honorable members. I really implore on you and Dr. Oh, please, Dr. Mwiti, introduce yourself and don't speak to the matter. Just introduce yourself.
Thank you, Chair. I'm Honorable Dr. Shedrack Mwiti, MP South Imenti, Meru County. Chair, I concur with Karuma, my other fellow member, that going together since South does not really have conflict of interest. So we proceed because we are looking for professionalism and delivery. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mwiti. And for the matter raised as a point of order by Honorable Betty and subsequently discussed by honorable members, I refer to you to standing order number 90 of our standing orders on declaration of interest, and I read, a member who wishes to speak on a matter in which the member has a personal interest shall first declare that interest. That is 91. The 92 personal interests include a pecuniary interest, property interest, personal or proprietary interest, personal relationships, and business relationships. And 3, the speaker may allow a member to speak on a matter under deliberation after considering the nature, extent, and effect of the interest declared by the member. And 4, any declaration made under this standing order shall be entered in the journals in the House. So in that case, I rule as follows on standing order number 92. Honorable Kibichi Biego and Honorable Peter Kaluma have declared that they have a personal relationship with the nominee, but having declared and assured this honorable committee that that will not affect the decisions that they are going to make, I thereby rule that the declaration of interest is sufficient and they may proceed with the proceedings for this vetting exercise. Proceed, nominee.
Thank you, Chair. I confirm that I leadership as a service. The authority entrusted to a public officer, the authority entrusted to a state officer is a public trust to be exercised in accordance with the Constitution and in a manner that upholds the Constitution and respects the people. The cardinal principles under that article include selection on the basis of competence and personal integrity. I have done that in the many positions I have held. In the National Police Service Commission, for instance, when we did the recruitment of police constables and cadet officers, the committee that I chaired, or the team that I chaired, in the various stations that we visited, ensured that only the candidates who met the requirements were recruited and no one was discriminated. The other requirement is to uphold objectivity in decision making. I have been faced with many instances where I've had to make difficult decisions. And in those instances, I have maintained objectivity and I have ensured that my decision making was not influenced by any considerations. I served, or when I was in the legal department, I served in disciplinary committees, I served in the tender committees, and all my decisions were based on the law and the facts. I have also, in the positions that I have held, put in place mechanisms to ensure, for instance, that officers declare their well-done declarations, officers conduct themselves in accordance with the ethical expectations. So this is an area where I will lead by example. Thank you, Chair.
Nominee, is there anything in your public or private life that will make you conflicted in your decision making if this committee approves you for this role?
There is nothing that will make me conflicted, Chair.
What is your net worth?
Chair, my net worth is 61,200,000 shillings. That's the difference between the assets that I have and the liabilities. And I have shared the details of that net worth in the questionnaire, which I have already submitted.
Yes. Honorable Kaluma, you have questions for the nominee?
Yeah, I thank you, Chair. Chair, I've put it on record that I know the nominee. The only part I needed to add is that in terms of academic qualification and competence, the nominee was among the best in his class. And I came a year after and I was among the best, if not the best, in our class. Chair, if you look at the records, the nominee got a second class honors upper division. This was the highest in their year. There was no first class.
That's true, Chairman.
Yes, that is true. This was the highest. And at that time, Chair, I remember it would take even 20 years before you get a first class at the University of Nairobi, more so at the Faculty of Law.
Please go to your question.
I'm going to my question, Chair. Chair, I'm going to my question. But Chair, let me clarify this because it is important. I've also looked at his KCSE certificate. And Chair, I'm putting this because of the matter of Chapter 6. And the nominee got also an A minus. And Chair, this is the time when A minus was A minus. Chair, let me therefore now proceed to make my questions.
Because now you are becoming the nominee's lawyer, you know?
No, you know, Chair, there is a reason as to why we bring these papers, or we get these papers for them for interrogation.
Chair, take us through the questions.
Chair,
please, don't
take us
interrupt.
through the question you have for the
Chair, I've interrupted. I should not be interrupted. I've done vetting for 14 years now. I know what I'm doing.
The nominee is present.
Yes, Chair, let me now ask my questions. Nominee, you have been nominated. Chair, there is a lot of interruption. I think we are diminishing the importance of this process. You've been nominated to be the CEO, come Director General of the Financial Reporting Center. Tell us some core functions or roles of the center and how your nomination or Parliament to approve your appointment would enhance the functioning of the center. That is my question number one. The roles and functions of the Financial Reporting Center. So we need to know you are going to a place you know. Number two, we have a very rich body of laws around anti-money laundering and around these issues to which body you have been nominated. And yet we still have a big challenge with money laundering, terrorism financing, and other transnational crimes. Where, based on your knowledge and experience, is the gap? And what would be your proposal if you see any gaps in terms of how we could address them? The last question, Chair. There is an advisory board to the authority to which you've been appointed, and you are being nominated to be the Director General. So you'll be in charge of the day-to-day management of the center. Where do you draw your line with the board, or where is the line between the responsibilities of the DG and that of the board, and how do you want to navigate them to ensure that the mandate of the center and the Director General, if we were to approve you, and that of the board are in constant harmony? Chair, I thank you.
Over to you, nominee.
Thank you, Honorable Kaluma. Through the chair, the Financial Reporting Center, which is Kenya's financial intelligence unit, is established under Section 21 of POCAMLA, and its key mandate or objective is to assist in the identification of proceeds of crime, and also to assist in combating money laundering, terrorism financing, and proliferation financing. Broadly, the functions are collection, analysis, and dissemination of financial intelligence to law enforcement agencies and supervisory bodies. That's actually the core mandate. And the other mandate is supervisory or compliance mandate. And it does so in terms of registering reporting institutions, supervising them for compliance, assessing risks in those sectors, and remediation. The other broad mandate is policy formulation and advisories. And it does this in conjunction with the board. It advises the cabinet secretary and the other players in the AML space. The other complementary functions are training and outreach. So it's actually a core mandate, a key function. It does capacitates or builds capacity of the reporting sector, the supervisory bodies, and also the staff of the center. That is broadly the core mandate of the center. But the center does not operate in isolation. It works within a space where there are law enforcement agencies. It operates within a space where there are other financial intelligence units in other countries and other international bodies. So the other role, again, is cooperation, sharing information with other bodies within and outside the country. How will I enhance the attainment or the discharge of the function of the center? One, with my background in counterterrorism, and operational management. One of the areas which I will deploy my skills in is enhancing the quality of disseminations, because that's a space I've operated in. And we will do this by building strong partnerships with the reporting sector, that is the industries, for quality reports. But more importantly, we'll build the capacity of the center to analyze and to disseminate quality, actionable financial intelligence to the report to the law enforcement agencies. Again, I will prioritize coordination, stakeholder engagement and coordination, because the role of FRC in the entire AML chain is just part one. There are other players who do the investigations, prosecutions, and recoveries. So as a national coordinator, as a key player in that space, I will bring on board my coordination and stakeholder management skills. In the CT space where I worked in, again, this is an area which had many stakeholders, both domestic and international. And I was able to do that very well. In terms of the role between the advisory board and the CEO, again, the FRC is a unique institution. The requirements of the FATF, that's recommendation 29, require that the financial reporting center of a country or the financial intelligence unit of a country has autonomy, so that's operational autonomy, and has the capacity to discharge its mandate. So if you look at the way it's structured and the way the board is structured, the board is actually advisory. It is not, strictly speaking, an oversight board. The role of the board is to advise the center generally on the exercise of its powers and also to participate in policy formulation and development of regulations. So as the CEO, one, I will ensure that the center remains or maintains that operational autonomy, but while at the same time facilitating the board to carry out its mandate. And then in terms of, I think the second question, sorry, I've jumped to the second question. Chairperson, it is true that we have put in place a fairly comprehensive legislative and institutional framework for combating not just money laundering, even terrorism and a host of other crimes. We have built institutions, but the threat of illicit financial flows, terrorism financing still persists. I would look at it in maybe two perspectives. One, in terms of the threat. So the threat itself persists because of evolution. The terrorist criminals are becoming smarter. They are adopting technology. They are even using professional services to commit crimes. But the other element is to look at it in terms of a vulnerability, and maybe that is where that's where we should focus on. What vulnerabilities are these terrorists or these criminal groups exploiting? One, you will appreciate that we are located within a region where there is conflict. A good number of our neighbors are embroiled in conflict. We located within a region, again, where we have terrorist groups operating in those countries. And with our porous borders, these provide vulnerabilities where they exploit. Again, as a country, on a positive note, we have we are a communication, transport, and a financial hub. We have one of the most sophisticated financial systems, including the M-Pesa, in the region. And while it's a good thing, while it's a positive attribute for the country, it's also an area where criminals are exploiting to raise, move, and to conceal illicit funds because of the ease of movement, because of the ease of concealing, and the ease of accessing those facilities. Within the institutional framework, I would say maybe capacity issues are still there. And the reason is some of the areas which we are dealing with are areas which are resource intensive and require building capacity over time. A good example is the virtual asset space. That's an area which is new, and law enforcement agencies, even FRC, will require to develop capacity in that area. Then lastly, I think we still have challenges with coordination, and I think that's an area which we just need to improve on, still operating as silos. If we are able to enhance coordination between the different players in that space, I believe we will be able to close the gap. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Honorable Mekamis Kassim.
Chair, can I have a small clarification?
You may.
Yeah. I'm very happy with your diagnosis of the gaps we have. But tell me, what mutual legal assistance arrangements do you have with those countries around here in the matter of transnational crimes like anti-money laundering?
Proceed.
Thank you, Chair. On MLA, I think most of our neighbors, most of us are signatories to the primary international conventions touching on terrorism, money laundering, and transnational organized crime. That's the Palermo Convention and the Vienna Convention. So that alone provides a framework, a basis for mutual legal assistance and information sharing. With respect, but specifically, we have provisions under our MLA Act, which provide for handling of requests from different countries, and even for us, how our requests are handled. I can confirm that FRC itself has also entered into MOUs with several FIUs in the region for purposes of enhancing coordination and enhancing information sharing.
Yeah, I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied.
Thank you. Honorable Kassim.
Thank you, Chairman. Nominee, congratulations for your nomination. I pray that you're going to be approved.
Thank you.
My question is a rejoinder of Honorable Kaluma's question, and it's on your core functions, dissemination, and you've spoken about coordination. And we know that FRC's core mandate is just to disseminate information, and you have no powers to prosecute or arrest. Then the perceived bottleneck between intelligence dissemination and actual convictions, how do you intend to improve your relationship between the prosecutors themselves? And in your earlier assignments, could you please tell us you found yourself in any condition where you had external interference in the work that you do, and the successful, and how many, I don't know how to put it, how many cases do you think you conclusively concluded and prosecuted after you've given the information has been conclusively done from high interest persons? That is my question one. The second question I have, are there any areas of legal, you've spoken about legal instruments, any areas legal and policy reform within the AML, CFT, and CPF ecosystem that you would propose for this committee to take up? Thank you.
Over to you, nominee.
Thank you, Chair. May I proceed? Thank you. Through the Chair, Mheshimiwa. On the first question of which I perceive is how do we enhance the utility of the financial disseminations so that they trigger investigations and prosecutions and even asset recoveries. One is to deal with the quality of disseminations at the center level first. And as I've indicated, we will boost, or we will bolster the analysis function of the center by many initiatives, including even analysis or employing analytical tools. So once we address that, once we ensure that the quality of disseminations meet the operational needs of the law enforcement agencies, the next point would be to ensure that that information is actually utilized or put into good use. And the only way of doing this is, one, through proactive follow-ups. It's not just enough to disseminate. I will ensure that we follow up on those disseminations, feedback to establish what challenges the law enforcement agencies are encountering with our disseminations. But also we will ensure as a center that where we can, we build the capacity of law enforcement agencies, especially the analysis and the ability to utilize our intelligence. We will put in place collaborative mechanisms to ensure that the center, the EACC, the DCI, ARA, KRA, and the OTPP work together seamlessly so that there is seamless dissemination and utilization of financial intelligence. In my previous work, and we found this very useful, the multi-agency approach, especially in the counterterrorism space, it has worked very well. There is no reason why it should not work in the money laundering space as well. And there were many cases which we were able to process through that multi-agency approach, because you have the investigator, you have the prosecutor, you have everyone within one roof. In my previous experience, I did not interfere, or I did not witness cases of external interference. Perhaps maybe just to clarify, I have not worked in the office of the DPP. I've worked in the National Intelligence Service. I did not experience any form of interference with the matters which we dealt with. In terms of, but for the center, if there was to be a case of to contextualize, if there is a case of external interference, the law is very clear that the DG, the center, has operational autonomy and makes a call independent of any influence from any quarter. In terms of areas of legal reform or policy formulation, there are several areas, Chair, and even as we embark or as we pursue the exit of the country from the grey list, there are areas which are pending, or the areas which require legal reform. One of the areas which is pending in our action plan is the area touching on trusts. That's a legal arrangements which requires enactment or review of the current laws governing trusts. So this is one of the areas which, as a center, I think we will be looking to your guidance to help us fast track that bill. The other area, which again is an area for policy and legal reform, is touching on the designated non-financial businesses and professions, particularly the real estate agencies. The law that they currently operate in, the institutional framework that they currently operate in, requires to be beefed up, to be improved, and to be modernized, so that they're able to carry out their mandate as supervisors or as supervisory bodies. And I give a very good example. The Estate Agents Registration Board operates on a legislation which was enacted way back, I think in 1964, 65. So that's an archaic legislation which needs to be amended and to be modernized. Lastly, again, still on the area of DNFPPs, I think it's a discussion which we could have on whether the supervisory bodies which have been given the mandate to supervise their licenses within that space really do have the capacity, or whether that mandate should be done by the center itself. The center, I am aware, has done a lot of work in terms of building their capacity to be able to supervise their licenses. Lastly, Chair, in terms of legal reforms, perhaps maybe we could consider also expanding maybe the composition of some of the oversight boards, some of the advisory boards, like the the AMLAP, the Anti-Money Laundering Advisory Board, perhaps to incorporate some of the sectors like the law society and even maybe the estate agents as part of just bringing them on board. I think those are the few areas I can mention, but the action plan that we have, that we've signed up as a country, does have several areas for legislative reform. The bulk has been done. I think there are only 2 areas which are pending. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. FCP Oyula.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Chair, let me start by congratulating Mr. Ono for having been nominated to this position. Mr. Ono, from your explanation, it appears you have a lot of information with you regarding these POCAMLA issues. Now, I just have 1 or 2 questions. Our country, Kenya, has been listed twice, gray listed twice. First in 2011 and second in 2024. 2024 is not far off. Why was Kenya gray listed in 2024? Secondly, Mr. Ono, what is the current status of the country's implementation of its ICRG action plan? And what, in your view, is hampering the country's delisting efforts? Thank you.
Over to you, Barnaftari.
Thank you, Honorable Oyula. And through the chair, it's true the country has been grey listed twice, first in 2010 and 2024. Just to give a context, in 2010, the country was grey listed mainly because of technical compliance. The FATF assessment regime or architecture assesses the country mainly on 2 areas, on technical compliance and the effectiveness. So in 2010, it was mainly on technical compliance, putting in place the necessary laws and the institutional framework. At that time, we had the legislation, but we had not operationalized it. So the bulk of the areas, of the issues, which took us to grey listing in 2010 were on technical areas. In 2024, when we went through the mutual evaluation exercise, which again is a requirement by the FATF standards that all countries which have signed up or who are members of FATF, either directly or indirectly, subject themselves or submit themselves to peer review. They are peer reviewed by the neighboring countries or other countries through the regional FATF regional bodies like ESAMLAC. So when we went through that process, a number of deficiencies were identified. There were few deficiencies touching on technical compliance, mainly on having a legal framework to regulate virtual asset service providers, which has been done by this House. There were other technical compliance areas, like having mechanisms to give effect to implementation of the targeted financial sanctions. So most of those areas have been addressed. And then, of course, the other area which has not been addressed was on having a law to govern beneficial ownership information, especially touching on trusts. The bulk of the issues, or the main reason which took us to ICRG process or grey listing, is on the effectiveness, basically demonstrating how well the institutions, how well the laws that we have in place are delivering, how well they are meeting the expected outcomes. In terms of prosecutions, for instance, how well are we doing? How many prosecutions have we conducted? How many investigations have we conducted? How many asset recoveries have we conducted? That is an effectiveness criteria. The other element was the appreciation of risks themselves. The mutual evaluation group established that the understanding of risks in the various sectors was not even. The financial sector appeared to understand the risks in that space pretty well, whereas the designated non-financial business and profession sector did not understand the risks. And as a consequence, there was no correlation between the mitigation measures that the country had adopted and the risk profile of the country. The other area was on what they call risk-based supervision. Again, the financial institutions demonstrated a fairly good understanding or application of risk-based supervision. The designated non-financial sector, unfortunately, was low, and it's not even. There are sectors within that group which have embraced or are doing well with the risk-based supervision, but there are sectors like legal sector, the real estate sector, which are not doing well. The other area was on prosecution of ML, that's money laundering, and terrorism financing, separate from the predicate offenses. And what they found out was that the country, yes, had done well in prosecuting terrorism, had done well in prosecuting the predicates, the corruption, forgeries, etc., the predicate generating crimes. But we had not done well in prosecuting ML as an offense and TF, that's terrorism financing, as an offense. The totality was we had done, the areas where we had done well as a country, but we did not have statistics. We did not have a good story to tell. That from disseminations done by FRC to the law enforcement agencies and eventually to prosecution and asset recovery, that consistency, that flow was missing, or that progression is what was missing. And that is what took us to grey listing. And lastly, in terms of the status, I am aware that as of today, we have addressed 10 items out of the 21 items in our action plan. So that means we still have 11 items in our action plan, and we have one more reporting cycle, that is in May. But I'm also aware that even for the items which we have not addressed, substantial work has been done. And we should be able to at least address maybe 5 to 6 other areas in the next reporting cycle. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Bamboni. Thank you very much, Chair. First of all, let me congratulate you for being appointed to these posts, if you approved by Parliament. Yeah,
No, switch off your mic. And CPR to switch off yours. So our audio team, I think, check on the. Try again now.
Yeah, I know. Thank you very much, Chair. I have 3 questions. The first question is that in February 2024, Kenya was put in the grey list due to strategic deficiencies in combating money laundering and terrorist financing. As the Director General, if you are approved by the House, you play a central role in coordinating national efforts to address financial action task force action plans items. What specific action are you going to undertake in your first 100 years to make sure that Kenya exits from the grey list?
I think on Abomboni you mean 100 days, not 100 years.
100 days. Oh, it was 100 years. Sorry, Chair, 100 years, nobody will be around. I think you have got the question. 2, if confirmed in this position, how do you intend to ensure that our international obligations, such as compliance with the
Financial Action Task Force standards do not undermine our security and national security. The last one, Financial Action Task Force assessment evaluation not only the existence of laws, regulations, and institutional framework, but also the extent to which these measures produce measurable results under the Financial Action Task Force immediate outcomes, such as successful investigations, prosecution, conviction and assets recovery, and effective risk mitigation. How would you ensure Kenya demonstrates effectiveness beyond technical compliance? Thank you very much.
How about you, nominee?
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Let me start with the last question because it's related to the one I answered last. On effectiveness, demonstrating effectiveness. This is an area which requires, it's not easy. It's a difficult area to demonstrate effectiveness. It requires, statistics. You must have evidence. You must have statistics. This is an area where you cannot address reactively. It requires that you have been working on it, building statistics, documenting the results. So one of the things which I will do in order to address the efficiency outcomes, one is to have a team, whose work is just to work on or to follow up on statistics and ensure that the efforts that we are doing as a country are documented. The other one, again, this area requires coordination, very strong coordination, for you to demonstrate, for instance, that the financial intelligence from the center has been utilized all the way. So one of the ways would be to establish coordinating or coordinative frameworks between the relevant agencies or law enforcement agencies to develop case management systems to track progression of cases from disseminations to prosecution. But most importantly, this requires constant review of our AML, CFT, CPF regime. This requires constant capacity building of the various sectors, and this requires constant outreach, and building strong partnerships with the reporting sector, that is the industry, building strong partnerships with the regulatory bodies. Because it's, as you've rightly indicated, or as mentioned, this is the second time we are being grey listed. We will be due for another review in 2031, and they will be looking on effectiveness. So our journey has to begin from now. We will not wait until 2031 to demonstrate effectiveness. We will, in 2021, we'll be demonstrating what we have achieved. In terms of the specific actions to, again, related to that, to exit from the grey list, if you look at the countries which have managed to exit from the grey list, we can borrow one or two things from what they have done. One is there has been very strong political commitment on the process. We have the political commitment, we just need to sustain it. Two is coordination. The countries which have exited the grey list have demonstrated very strong, very effective coordination of all the players involved in the removal efforts. So one of the ways, again, would be to, from the top, have a leadership or have a leadership forum, then from that leadership forum establish working groups dealing with specific issues. And then we just need to continue building capacity and resourcing the institutions which are charged or which are mandated to facilitate exit from this process. I will, within the 100 days, my goal will be to address at least 6 areas within the action list within the 100 days. I will seek to establish a technical committee between the FRC and the sectors which are not doing very well currently. Those are the designated non-financial businesses and professions. I will also seek to enhance the capacity of the center in the core areas to support these efforts, and essentially, specifically, the analysis function of the center and the compliance. And within 3 months, it's something which we can do in terms of recruitment or secondments, and procuring the necessary tools to enable us effectively discharge on that mandate. I've mentioned the case management, which will be very key, and then having the close collaboration between the leadership of the various agencies who are involved